So, what's up everyone, Tachi here. So, it's time to make the Mage edition of the 4-star characters that are worth investing in. So, this time I'll try to get rid of my bias towards PvE units. This time I'll try to get rid of my bias towards PvP units, but do keep in mind that I am primarily a PvP player. So, while I do see some usage in characters that are PvE focused, I do not necessarily rate them as high as others. Now, just in case, because I have seen some people be confused, this list is not in order by tier list. This list is just in order of them showing up in the codex. That's all it is to it. So onto the first character, Leia. So the thing about Leia that I like is the fact that I can see her being used inside of Novice Arena and PvE content, because she's very similar to Gunther in the fact that she has an X-shaped attack. So she's not as useful in normal arena, but in Novice Arena, not everyone is running those 2-line comps that you see in normal arena. As well as in PvE, that's not even an issue because PvE units typically are in this X-shape. Now, the thing about her is she's very similar to Foxy, for example, whereby she deals reduced damage and she attacks multiple times. So you could see that at +9 it's only 20% reduction, so it's 160% of her normal attack for her normal hit. As well as at +3 she becomes a 3x3, which is very nice, very useful, and as well makes the enemy inoperable after normal attack. This is to say that she basically stuns them, but it also deals damage. Now in exchange it is a shorter duration, but I think that's fine because that is actually a lot of damage. Now, as well as that, she's also similar to Walia in that she copies buffs of people that she hits. And because she does that, it works with her awakening skill, which makes her heal for the amount of buffs that she has on her, which is pretty decent. That your mage actually can have some sort of self-sustain is pretty decent. But do keep in mind, I have said before, healing in this game is not the best, but it is still useful to some extent. Alright, on to the next character. So, Choco. Choco is a fairly interesting unit. Unlike Leia, even though he has an X shape, I don't see him being used that much inside of... I don't see him being used that much, but I can see some things that you would do. Now, unlike Zakan, his permanent self-destruction counter is not very good. It doesn't really do that much damage. Honestly, I don't really expect it to kill that many people without being like super buffed up. Just by himself, I don't see him killing anything. Or most units, should I say. But he does do quite a bit, maybe like half of your HP or a little over half of your HP on your attacker. But the biggest reason why I would use him is solely for his attack. Now, the thing about his attack is that he actually has to go. Remember, these are mages. Unlike Wiggle, for example, you have to worry about whether or not he's actually even going to be able to move before he dies. That's the thing about mages. So do keep that in mind. However, he does do quite a lot of damage when he does hit, and he hits a very wide area. So again, this is another unit I can see being very useful inside of Novice Arena. So regardless, on to the next character, Alicia. Alicia is a control mage because she freezes very similarly to Britain. However, she also freezes on counterattack. Now, the thing about her that I don't like is the fact that she's like Britain, but she's a mage. So even though she hits one extra square, it takes her 2 turns to hit. Now, personally speaking, I don't really think this is that great, but I can see her being very useful in some sort of control mage comp, like with Celia and whatnot. I can see that being used for just in a team that has a lot of debuffing. Debuffing is very strong in this game, but not many people try to run it. I guess it's just too much of a pain in the ass, but I can definitely see her being used in some sort of control deck. Either way, on to the next character, Bruno. First of all, not only does he hit a very wide range at 9 tiles, that is very strong, even in normal arena. Now, I think the biggest reason why you probably don't see him is just the fact that there are other better units that you could be using instead of him. But I think he's actually very strong. See, the thing that's really not the best about him is the fact that he's a first hitter. So usually he's going to be hitting tanks. However, he deals quite a lot of damage, mostly because you see this buff here. Additional crit damage boost every turn after crit damage is boosted. So you really only need something like a Hewn Wall, for example, to buff him. And then he's just gonna go to town. By the time he attacks on turn 2, he should already have 15 to 20 of these already stacked on him. That is a lot of buffing. That is a lot of buffing for him. And then he's just gonna unleash on the enemy. and then he also removes already applied barrier type skills. So any barrier type characters, he'll go through that. He also stuns them after the normal attack. Now the thing about that is I'm not sure how that would apply. So I can definitely see him being used to some extent. I would try him out, but to be honest, it's a lot of investment. And it's a little bit too early in the game for me to want to do something like that. I would definitely do something like that maybe later down the road when I have more resources available to me and I can just freely 5-6 star whatever I want. But for now, I have to focus on units that are slightly more efficient in terms of climbing the ranks. Either way, on to the next character, Esther. Esther is also a control mage. However, she's actually quite useful in the fact that she has multiple. Hers is very strong, or even Marin, for example. However, she also has increased damage towards defenders, which is very helpful considering she's a 2-round first hitting unit. So that means she's probably gonna kill most tanks that are in the front, except for maybe something like Seer or Mamo. But other than that, she should do quite a lot of damage. On top of that, she also debuffs them so that they take more damage just in case she doesn't kill them. She has bleed as well, which makes her job even easier of killing tanks. Anything that doesn't die to her normal hit might die to the bleed. Either way, I think she can be very useful in a control comp. I would definitely go and try that one day, but for now, like I said before, I have to focus on units that will help me climb an arena because that is my main focus. Either way, on to the next character, Lucretia. So honestly speaking, her biggest use is just as a charming tank, although she's not that tanky. You can definitely get her to a decent amount of HP. She's just mainly used to charm. That's her primary usage. She's immune to stuff, so you can't really fuck with her. She also has a curse, which is actually fairly useful. It's actually fairly useful, especially since, as you can see, before getting attacked, reduces the damage that you take by quite a lot. It also makes them unable to heal, which is actually very useful in some stages of Evil Castle, for example. I have seen her used in the mid-30 stages before, so maybe keep that in mind if you get stuck there. I have seen her being used as a charm tank, so try it out. Why not? Zarka. Zarka is another control mage. He's actually really fucking crazy. He hits 3x3. He increases the damage they take by 65% at base. He reduces their stats by 35%, poisons them, and he silences them. He's probably one of the best control mages in the game, to be honest. Very, very strong unit. I can see him being used greatly in Novice Arena, if not for the fact that he was ugly. If he was a girl, people would be using the hell out of him. But unfortunately, maybe we'll have to wait for those costumes. Look at that. Boosting incoming damage by 95%. That is almost a doubling of damage taken. He also removes already applied barriers, 65%. He also removes already applied stat boosting skills. He poisons for 18% and silence 18 turns. That's crazy, man. Very crazy. I think he's a very good unit and I can see him being used a lot. Hell, anyone who's played this game for more than like 10 minutes already knows that she's a fantastic unit. Probably the best 4-star unit in the entire game. She's also damn good looking, if I do say so myself. But more importantly, the skills. So she gets an attack buff and a crit rate buff when she gets hit. Not only that, but she also has a counter that's based on her own attack, which she just buffed, that is going to deal ridiculous amounts of damage, basically kill anything that touches her. So she's going to attack, and then everything is going to hit her, and then die. Great. So what do you counter? Do you hit her for a lot of damage? Oh wait, forgot about that. She heals. Oh, I'm sorry. You tried to kill her? Yeah, sorry about that. You have to deal more than her total HP worth of damage, otherwise you're never going to kill her. Or you have to cheese her with characters like Leia, or maybe you could just remove her taunt or her buffs. Those are all options. Her counters are primarily things like Marin, Orion, Leia, things like that. Things that deal a lot of true damage. Anything that blocks, anything that gets defense before they attack will cheese her. Because what happens is that you get your buff of defense before the attack, you get to 100% defense, and then her counter is going to do 0 damage. That's why things like Leia, for example, will survive through her. Either way, strongest 4-star unit in the game, in my opinion. Either way guys, that is the end of this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Mage edition. The support edition should come out fairly soon. I already have it recorded, so all I have to do is just edit it. Either way, I'm out guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you are looking forward to the support edition, feel free to subscribe. Other than that, I'm out guys. Have a nice day.